I did not find a Whisnant, a Whisnant, or anything close to it. There were, it was not in that particular area of Germany.
Well, this was, I saw it written out, it was a hyphenated word, Whisnant.
Okay, well, I looked for V-I-S-I, and there wasn't a V-I-S-I in the phone book in any of the areas around there. There wasn't a V-I in the whole phone book. There wasn't there. Yes.
Do you feel that even though it was still an active convent in 1680,
Okay, yeah, I feel comfortable that it was. Okay, I think we've got some people from history in here. All right, when did Napoleon invade and take over Germany? Come on.
Do we have our history?
Okay, I know we got a couple of history that's running around somewhere. Where's your son Stan? He's history. He's working. Okay, now, it was a convent, a quote, working convent, until Napoleon took it over, whatever year that was. Now, after Napoleon moved back to France, a winery took over the land. And they still have it today. And it's called the same name as the closer concern. I keep getting mental blanks on the same name as the convent. Okay? And there is a picture over here somewhere that has the arc across where you enter the convent area with 1262, that the winery was established in 1262. Well, that particular winery of 1262 was when the convent was established, who established the vineyards at the same time. So that's where the 1262, when they took over, when Napoleon, when he came in, took over all the churches and so on and so forth. And then when he gave it to the people, and then when he was defeated, it stayed, it did not go back. Now, the next question was it a Catholic convent, or was it a Reformed church? I don't know.
I don't think it was a convent at all when Franz Ferdinand arrived, was it?
Like I say, that's something we need to find out, is that when did Napoleon arrive? And that will determine. But according to the records, if he was christened at that area, according to the records, which means that it would have to have been an active religious establishment at that time.
Family, as long as that's gone before Napoleon came along.
Oh, yeah.
I say I'm weak in history.
Yeah.
I don't know when Napoleon came through.
Napoleon sold Arkansas to the United States
That
in the Louisiana Purchase.
Louisiana, that was
1803.
1803.
So we're talking about
So then it
late
would have
1900s, early
then it would have been a religious establishment then. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, it is now 9:30, and I think it is time for the following. One is, just informal visiting and, seeing what everybody has out there. And as far as the schedule tomorrow, again, registration from 8 to 10. We should get on a good schedule tomorrow at 10 o'clock because everybody out here is registered. Is there anybody that has not registered? Okay, so we should have a good schedule. And I think if there's anything else. Does anybody else have any announcements or anything? Go ahead.
When do we get slides shown?
Oh, okay. I'll cover tomorrow because what we were going to do on the slides is it's called time and events, and it's going to be the discussion of the instead of using the slides, I ended up having to go ahead and have the photographs blown up into 8x10s for me and for Grace. And what we'll do is that, I'll be here, set up a time tomorrow, that I'll be by the, photograph photographs over here to discuss with everybody, you know, the different photographs that are 8 by 10s that are on the wall over here, as far as the top row, Eindhoven, Germany, and the bottom row, top row is Americom, Switzerland, the bottom row, Eindhoven, Germany, and so that for anybody that has particular questions about them, and that's the only way I knew to really, because it got into some logistics problem with slides of where do I set it up, where do you shoot it, you know, Corps of Engineers, brilliant engineers, one stupid plug over here, you know, with 2 little sockets, you know, and I'll discuss that with them when I go back to work next Monday. I think it's stupid. It ought to be more than just 2. It should be at least 1 on each end. So anyway, does anybody else have any particular questions? Because what I would like to do, because I know there's several of you out there that I'd like to see and spend some time with to discuss as far as where we tie in and everything.
Gary?
Yes.
Let me tell them about how I met your folks.
Okay, now this is fantastic. This is totally true. Jason, he come up here, and it is unbelievable.
How old are you, Gary?
I'm 49.
Listen, before you were born then, because it was about 50 years ago, I was going to a little school up here, a little college up here in Russellville, Arkansas Tech. It was a junior college back in those days. And we didn't have much money, nobody did. It was we called it a count college. So since nobody had any money, the way we got around those days was hitchhiking. And it was, I suppose, Labor Day weekend or something. And our friend, we had a friend that went to Tech who lived in Fort Smith, Arkansas. And he had invited a couple of us to visit him up there. So he went ahead of us. And so my friend DeWitt Castle and myself hitchhiked to Fort Smith. We went on the side of the road, stuck our thumb out. A fella came along, as I recall, it must have been a roadster or something, because as I recall, we all sat in the front seat. I think it was just a 1-seat car, and got about halfway to Fort Smith and ran out of gas. So we thought, since this man had been nice enough to pick us up, we'd help him, go with him while, at least hold his hand while he located some gas. He said, no, says, you boys go on, get you another ride. Says, I'll go to this farmhouse here and find some way to get some gas. So we went on our way and got up to Fort Smith, just thinking what a nice man had picked us up. Got up there, and someone in the family there was reading the newspaper, had a picture of somebody named Whisnant. And so we went over, wanted to see what Mr. Whisnant looked like, and lo and behold, it was the same man that had picked us up on the side of the road. Neither of us had introduced ourselves, so we didn't know we had a similar name, and were related someplace down the line. So I thought, well, it was just too bad I missed a chance to meet this fellow that was so nice to us, to know his name. About 2 or 3 weeks later, maybe a month later, back on the street in Russellville, I saw this same man that had picked us up. So I knew his name then. So I went up and introduced myself. He said, my name is Ralph Whisnant. Well, Ralph Whisnant, and so since that time, we have been friends. Ralph and I have been friends until he died several years ago. And I've knew Ralph and his wife and his daughter, Sandra, and his son, Gary. And this is Gary. This is his son right here. And to sort of, like I say, Dad and I sometimes have weird sense. Whisnant sometimes have a weird sense of humor. But anyway, I thought Dad would enjoy being here and everything. So as you're looking at Americom, Switzerland, Eindhoven, Germany, and you get down, you start looking at the German map. If you look down on the middle map over here, you'll see a guy looking at you, and that's my dad. All right, let's go ahead and break up and visit with everybody. And